James Turner for the untouchable true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so y'all can go ahead, y'all can say the date, y'all can make your plans if you're in the LA area and you want to go to the fight. It is signed, it is sealed, and it is in fact delivered. Diego Pacheco, one of my favorites, one of True School Sports' favorites. He's in front of the show, in front of the program. He's going to be back in the ring for his first fight of 2025 and what figures to be a massive 2025 because there's still big aspirations for Pacheco to go in and become champion and, you know, continue to bring the big fights to the LA area. Pacheco will be taking on none other than Omaha, Nebraska's very own and Terrence Crawford's friend, the hard-hitting, very determined Steve So Cold Nelson. So let's talk about this fight because I think it is interesting. You know, before we get into the matchup, you know, it is worth noting that Pacheco was impotent. He was going to fight, and Billy, that fight was going to go to the purse bids, but before the fight went to purse bid or anything like that, this fight wound up getting done, and they announced it. So no Christian and Billy for him. But as far as this fight, I think it is a dangerous fight for Pacheco because I'm not going to sit here and proclaim and profess to be an expert on the career of Steve So Cold Nelson. I've seen maybe one fight on some random card somewhere. Can't even tell you who he fought. Can't even tell you like when it was. But I remember he could punch. I know he could really punch. I know his reputation around boxing is that Steve Nelson can really punch. I know that he's been waiting for an opportunity for a while. I remember his name was being floated around as an opponent for Edgar Berlanga a couple years ago when Berlanga was a prospect. And that was actually a fight I wanted to see because, you know, it's not really good matchmaking for prospects early on if you're trying to move them a certain way and get them to a title to match them against punchers early in their career. You want to try to avoid that as much as possible until, you know, they get to a certain level. But, you know, Pacheco is definitely not a prospect now. He's graduated from that stage a long time ago. He's now a full-fledged contender, a title contender, a guy that I think, you know, can win a world title. And he's got like, what, 20 fights now? It don't feel like he got 20 fights, but Pacheco's already been pro for like, what now? Because Diego Pacheco turned pro in, I'm going to say, like 2019 on the Guy with Strada Rumbasai rematch undercard. So it don't seem like it, but yeah, he's racked up 5 fights, or about 20 fights in about a 5-6 year span. So, you know, he's actually been one of the more active fighters in the USA for boxing. And that's one thing I've always liked about Pacheco and Matchroom and how they moved them. They kept him active, and it didn't matter if he fought in LA or England or Mexico. Pacheco has always found a way to deliver and deliver big and deliver to the point where you can look at him as a world champion. So he's expected to deliver here again and do it in impressive fashion against Steve Nelson. For Steve Nelson, I'm not really sure his age. I don't got it in front of me, but I know he's no spring chicken. I know he's not like in his 20s. He's got to be definitely well into his 30s. And he's been, you know, on the pavement pounding the pavement for a long time, looking to get that big opportunity to announce himself to the world. And this is his chance. This is his chance to announce himself to the world. And this is his chance to make a name for himself and not just be, you know, the guy that trained to Terrence Crawford that can punch. You know, he beats Diego Pacheco, and all of a sudden you're talking about Steve Nelson now being a high-level contender overnight because that's how high Pacheco was ranked. You knock him off, you knock him out, now you're there. So that part of it is really interesting. The one punch factor in this fight is really interesting because obviously with 8-ounce gloves, everyone can punch if the shot is placed properly. Look at Bruno Suruas and what he did to Jaime Munguia. You know, he didn't have a whole lot of knockouts. He placed a shot on his chin. And, you know, a guy that was regarded as a light puncher knocked the Jaime Munguia in front of his friends and his family. So, you know, but Steve Nelson can punch. Heavy gloves, little gloves, regular, he can punch. So this fight for Pacheco is going to be about using that long rangey frame of his, keeping that jab in Nelson's face and setting up that right hand. And it's also going to be about, I think he showed a little bit of a new wrinkle when he stopped Sulecki to the body. I think he's going to need to implore some of that here to take the gas tank and the stamina of Steve Nelson down a notch in this fight, so that he can probably try to break him down later on. And for Steve Nelson, listen, man, you don't got nothing to lose. You all in your 30s. They called you for this opportunity. You go in there, if he even does anything so far as even have a good fight and give this kid problems, he's gonna get called some more fights. But if he wins, if Steve Nelson beats Pacheco, which I know he's gonna come to win because he's with Terrence Crawford, he's a Brian McIntyre, he's with all them guys in Nebraska. They don't go into fights to just come in second place. They come to win and take your head off. And so I would expect him to uphold that reputation and do the same and give Diego Pacheco a war. And I'm looking forward to learning more about Steve Nelson, because I'm sure I could go back and I could watch some of his fights and I can study his career, and I'll take some bits and pieces about what I already know and what I would know watching his fights. But we're really going to learn about who Steve Nelson is come January 25th when he fights Diego Pacheco. And don't get it twisted, like, Pacheco is good, and I do rate him highly, but I have a long memory when it comes to boxing, and I was there just 2 fights ago when Diego Pacheco fought Sean McCallum in Vegas, another not highly regarded guy, or highly known guy, and Pacheco looked very regular in that fight. Now Diego says that he was having the birth of his daughter. There was a lot of things going on in camp, that type of thing. So that's why he didn't perform to his normal standards, and that's possible. But he still did look regular nonetheless. And McCallum was a big physical guy who kind of frustrated him, being patient on the outside. So I think if Steve could take some of the things that Sean McCallum did and then take his attributes and just really amplify them on top of what McCallum did, it could be a recipe for success. But it is a fight Diego is excited to win. And if he wins, then, we should be looking at, possibly the world title fights against maybe in Billy or whomever. Maybe the winner of Munguia, Bruno Suras 2, maybe Caleb Plant. Who knows what the future holds for Pacheco? But his future doesn't matter, and it's not irrelevant if you don't get past Steve so-called Nelson, who's coming to hit you with these bricks. So let's see how it goes. But yeah, those are my preliminary thoughts on this matchup. Give me yours down below. For anybody out there that knows a lot about Steve Nelson's career, please educate me. I'm always trying to learn about boxing. I'm always trying to be put on game. I just know he can punch. That's the one thing I've seen in a couple of highlights. That's the one thing I've heard all these years as well. He can punch, and if he can punch, Pacheco's defense better be tight, because one punch can ruin the trajectory of his career. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe, and like I say in every single one of these videos, you could love me or you could hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.
Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys click right over here. Keep watching my boy BT put on the best interviews out here.